And we're live. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, hello. This is Earth School
Greetings.
Journey. I am Umi Steph, and this is my wonderful co-host, Uni. How are you, Uni?
I'm doing good, Uvi. How you doing today?
I'm good. It is warm in this greenhouse, but it is not warm on the other side of that door.
I hear you.
Yeah, so I'm doing well. How about you? How you holding up in this cold?
I'm surviving. I'm telling you, I'm grateful to have a warm home and, to be have everything I need at the end of the day. You know what I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
all I could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this month we've been talking about vision, and this study hall is about tuning into your vision. And we've been talking a lot about what a vision is and where it's supposed to come from, but we haven't really talked a whole lot about how to do that. So, the question really is, how do you tune into your vision? And so, that's what we're going to kind of get into in just a moment. But before we do that, I wanted us to kind of recap our intentions and our affirmations for the month. Uni, you want to go ahead and remind us what your intention and what your affirmation were?
Yes, so my intention is I intend to make choices that feel true for the long term. And my affirmation is I see more clearly as I align with my highest good.
Yes, beautiful. And my intention this month is I intend to trust my inner knowing as it unfolds in its own time. And in line with that, I take the next faithful step knowing the vision will become clearer as I take aligned action. And so we wanted to make sure that we reminded everyone of these intentions and these affirmations because we should be working with them throughout the month. And so going forward, we intend to make sure that in every show we're going to recap what the intention and the affirmation that we have each selected, and to remind you to go back and check your intention and your affirmation if you're playing along with us.
And put them
Yes.
in the comments. Yes, we'd love for you to affirm, what you are focusing on this month by sharing your intention, and sharing your affirmation. I will be sharing mine in the comments as well this evening. So,
Yes, so will I. Yes. And, as we're going along and we ask these questions, feel free to answer them. We try to be in the chat and reiterate the questions in text form so that you can see them and answer them. But please feel free to go ahead and answer these questions, the journal prompts, or if you have additional information to add about anything, we want to hear it. We want to know. We're always open to learning new things that we maybe don't know or haven't brought to the table. So let's kind of jump into these spiritual practices. We have a pretty long list today of things to kind of talk about when it comes to vision. There's lots. There's some fun stuff. There's some not so fun stuff. So let's get the probably I don't want to say not so fun, but it is kind of sometimes. But we the first thing we really have to talk about is spiritual hygiene, which comes up every single study hall because I mean it really is the thing, right? um Uni, I'm going to ask you. So what is the role of spiritual hygiene in, you know, tuning into the vision?
For me, spiritual hygiene, when it comes to tuning in the vision, is really about keeping my lens clean. Earlier this month, I mean, just on the fly, I started thinking about um, the Karate Kid. We had a young man who was learning from a master, and the first thing that master taught him was how to clean a window, wax on, wax off. He had to clean his mirror or his window first and foremost before he could do anything. And while, the young man didn't understand why he had to do that first, I didn't really understand why he had to do it first watching it. You know what I mean? It just this month as we were doing this work, it just dawned on me, like before you can really get into doing expanding your vision, or getting into alignment with receiving your vision, you have to clear the lens. A lot of us have come into this world with karmas and challenges and generational curses. These are things that we hear about all the time. And then on top of that, we have the things that our parents or our caregivers, pour into us, as a lot of them were out of alignment. So for me, spiritual hygiene is really about clearing the lens and then keeping the lens clean. You know what I mean? Like you don't just clean it one time and that's it. You have to constantly clean it. You have to constantly, go within and make sure that you are seeing correctly, make sure that you are anchored within yourself correctly so that you can attract for your highest good. And
Mhm.
the consistency is really the part that I've been working on within myself.
Mhm.
It's just all about consistency. What I realize is that a lot of times when we go through hard times in life, sometimes we are, well, okay, I'm gonna again speak for myself. I'm trying to speak for myself. um I can be the type of person, like, I want to take like big actions, and like, I want to take big gulps. I want to do a lot in a short amount of time. But it's those aligned steps. It's getting up and brushing your teeth every day, washing your face, getting the coal out your eyes. It's doing all of that, the hygiene every day, that really counts. That's going to keep you in alignment, to help you see clearly and help you attract. And so, I think spiritual hygiene is like the key. We've both been reading Miss Diane Levasan's new book, Spiritual Hygiene, and we've been talking about how we feel, so convicted, and we feel
Yes.
like she's speaking directly to us. And it's just such a powerful book. And I feel like for us, especially when that phrase actually came up to us during that time, and then her book being announced during that same time, this is really a key during this time for a lot of us. And I just can't express enough how important spiritual hygiene is. We have to keep our lens clean. We have to make sure that we're attracting from a pure place. We have to make sure that we're in alignment with our highest good. So
Mhm.
yeah. How about
Yeah.
you? What is spiritual hygiene for you?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's really about keeping that lens clean and making sure that you are constantly yeah, he's pain in the butt right now. Um that you're always making sure that you're tuned in. We're talking about tuning into the vision. Well, you have to regularly tune in. You have to know what frequency to tune into. You have to know um that place within yourself that you need to go. You have to know who you are. And we are, as humans, designed to forget. So you have to consistently, tune in, remember, make it a part. You got to get that groove. And, I, as always, am the first one to say that I am not very consistent. I am still working on the consistencies. I may be consistent in prayer and not consistent in meditation and stillness, which is next month's topic, which I'm really excited about. But I may not be, I may be really consistent in affirmations, but then, not so consistent in maybe clearing, or, you know what I mean? And it varies. Like one month I'll do great on one thing and not so great on the next. And so that really does, you'll lose the vision if you even get it. Once you get it, you may lose that vision, you lose sight of that vision. I mean, it's always there underlying, but if you're not consistently tuning in and cleaning that spiritual lens so that you can look through it when you need to, and be grounded in it and centered in it. Ayanla's book is amazing. Iyanla, I have to remember to say her name right. Iyanla's book is amazing. It is, I've had to put it down several times and feeling convicted about some of the things. And um, I'm only like halfway through it because I've stopped and gone back a couple of times. So definitely recommend, highly recommend that read. I think it may be our first book club book. I'm not I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm thinking it might be. Um, so yeah, let's just move on. We'll move on from feeling convicted and move on to something else a little more fun.
All right.
Um, um, another thing that we have on our list is writing, and specifically automatic writing. But I think journaling in general is a really great practice when you're trying to tune into a vision and having that habit, because I found that even when I, meditate and I get a vision, if I don't have the practice of journaling and writing these things down, then I tend to forget and I tend to lose it and lose sight of it, and revisiting that writing. Automatic writing, which is kind of a meditative writing where you're asking a question maybe and allowing, spirits to sort of just speak, and letting the words come however they come, and there's not really thought about it, it's really just allowing it to come through. And I've had some really good experiences with automatic writing and coming, fleshing out a vision, I will say. Like, and so it's something that I encourage everyone to give a try at some point, to really give a try automatic writing, of just kind of getting into this meditative state and allowing the words to flow through you. Uni, what's your experience with kind of journaling and automatic writing, and tuning into your vision?
It really helps me to gain clarity, to be honest
Mm,
with you. When I'm, just letting it flow and I'm writing out whatever's coming up and I'm not censoring it, I'm not trying to edit it as I write, I'm not trying to perfect it or make it look or sound good in any way, shape, or form. I'm just letting it out. You know what I mean? It really helps me to gain clarity. And sometimes I don't even have to go back and read it to gain clarity. I get clear within myself, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because of what I have released, what I have allowed to outpour from myself. But sometimes the automatic writing for me is about getting the noise out so that
Mm,
I'm kind of clear within myself. That's really what it's been for me. It's an amazing practice that I really love, and I need to do it again more often. I've kind of been, it's just one of those things that I have notebooks where it's like, it's months back to back, day after day. And then there'll be months where I haven't, journaled or written, for a while. But I know those times when I do, it's just so, so helpful.
mhm, yeah. I definitely do find it helpful, and I was just talking to my daughter about this yesterday, about how I really want to get into that habit, because she was saying she did too, and I go, we both want to do this. We should probably like have some accountability for each other here. Hey, have you journaled today? Have you journaled recently?
It's a
So
great
yeah,
idea.
it's a really great practice. Again, another thing I'm not consistent with that I would love to be more consistent with. Um and since we're talking about journaling, I'm just going to go for the journaling questions that we have. We have some journal and reflection prompts. Um, and I'm just going to put them out there. So the first one that we have is, which beliefs shape my vision without my consent? Yeah. What beliefs do you have that are shaping the vision that you are putting out there, that you think is yours, that is really shaping, how you see it, how the outcome is? When I think of this question, I've realized, as I said in the, story, I said the week that you were sick, is I had a vision for my life based on what other people made me believe I was supposed to do, and it really limited my ability to see any other vision. So I wasn't necessarily getting my vision from the right place. And I think this question really gets to that. Like, which beliefs are shaping my vision without my consent? So I encourage everyone to sit with that as the first journal prompt. Uni, you want to go ahead and read that second one for us?
Sure. What outcome am I attached to that may be limiting my sight?
Mm,
we talked about this in depth last week. Um, you know, Attachment to outcomes limits your vision, it forces you to not be flexible, you know, it makes you think that there's only one way that you can, receive your vision, or one way that you can have what it is that you desire. But I don't know about you guys, but there's definitely been times when, there's things that I'm like, oh, whatever. Like I think it's not going to be all that. And then it just turns out to be so much more than I expected. And I really think that it is so powerful to keep a little wonder, keep a little curiosity, remain flexible, give the universe, the Most High, God, the oneness that is all, the creator, whatever you call it, give it an opportunity to surprise you, to make things better than you could have imagined. I mentioned that last week as well, just wanting to get to a place where I can say, wow, I never knew life could be so good, or I would have never imagined I could be here. The only way I'm going to do that is if I leave some wiggle room, you know,
Hmm.
leave some wiggle room. So yeah, this is definitely a very powerful thought to have. And I'd really like you all to, just write in the comments, let us know how has being attached to outcomes or certain outcomes affected you? Are you, have you realized that, there is benefit to remaining flexible and open? Let
Yeah.
us know.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, our last question is, where does my intuition keep nudging me in the same direction? And this one, this is where you go. This is where the conviction, where I feel conviction, right? Where I know that like I've been hearing, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And I've made up every excuse in the world why I cannot do that thing. Okay. Yeah. Where does my intuition keep nudging me in the same direction? Consistency. Be consistent. That's
Right.
definitely one of those things I keep hearing. I make up every excuse in the world not to be, you know. Um, yeah, and so I'm sure that we all have some of those. Feel free to share them in the chat. Also, if you just, want to keep your stuff to yourself and get in that journal, really write it, do some automatic writing. Maybe you don't even realize that you're ignoring some things. There may be some things that you're not even paying attention to that have been constantly in your face and they keep popping up, but you're not associating them with your vision. Maybe you're discrediting them. That's also something um, that I've done. Like I love to write, and I do feel that that's part of my vision. But there was a time when I did not believe that because I can make up every excuse in the world about why it's not a good idea for me to write. And I'm sure we all have those things. So please think about that, meditate on it, journal about it. If you want to share in the chat, I know we'll be in the chat with you and spilling our guts too. All right. So those are the three journal questions that we have for this month. Um, Moving on, let's see. I guess we can get into the crystals and the herbs. These are some things that you can work with for us with witchy ladies out there, us little brujas who like to have our little crystals and our herbs. Uh, let's start with the crystals. Uni, you want to talk about goshenite and selenite?
Yes, 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 yes. So, as we're speaking about vision, I wanted to, share, or we both wanted to share some practical things that you can work with in order to help you with receiving your vision. And Goshenite and Selenite are absolutely two of my absolute favorite crystals to work with. Like, I'm telling you, when I was learning about crystals, I have a crystal healing certification, and when I was learning about crystals, I bought a lot. I studied a lot, um, but I'm telling you, these two I would carry around with me in my purse day after day, going to work, going to wherever I was going. I mean, my purse would start to get heavy from starting to carry crystals. And so these two I absolutely had to carry with me because they are great for seeing clearly. And, in the environment that I was in, and, different environments that I was in during that time as I was like really in my healing phase, and as I'm still in my healing phase, but, in the beginnings and as I was, learning about these crystals, something told me that I needed to see clearly. And so Goshenite and Selenite were two of my favorite. And I did write some notes down about them. Um, Goshenite is for clear receiving. And it really helps so that you are not, tainting, or you're not getting in your own way, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? As we
Hmm.
were talking about, a lot of times, it's so easy to, for things to come back up, and you wonder why you wind up in, certain cycles and things of that nature. Goshenite helps you to not get in your way. It helps you to really discern clearly, and it helps you to have a strong connection to your higher guidance without distortion. And I have a Goshenite here. I don't know if you could see it. You see how it's almost like frozen water. Like
Mm.
it's not quite like excuse my nails. I need to go get my nails done, but it's not like it's a little different than clear quartz. Like clear quartz, there's like it's not as like watery looking. I don't know if you could see. This looks like frozen water. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so when I was learning about Goshenite and I purchased this, it was just I just knew that I needed to have this crystal. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to stay like in high vibration. I wanted to be able to see clearly. I wanted to be able to focus. Like I realized that a lot of the things that I have been, seeing, and as I was saying, like I'm sitting in crap and I need to figure out how to get out of it. Goshenite was like one of those crystals to really change the game for me. And I'm talking about carrying it with me, sitting with it in meditation, um, praying with it, all of those different things, working with it, feeling the energy, allowing it to really help me to see clearly.
Hmm.
And then the other one, selenite. Selenite is like a conduit. This cute little heart. I carried this every day with me, like for, I don't know, months, maybe years. I don't know. I carried this with me so much. Selenite is associated with the moon. So it really helps you to tune into your intuition. I'm so mad I didn't get my nails done this week. I'll see in my nails. Um, Selenite helps you to open your channel and become more receptive. This is another selenite that I have. The thing with selenite, it actually can dissolve in water. That's how in tune it is with, that's how I want to say gentle it is, how sensitive it is, and how it helps you to tap into your own sensitivity.
Hmm.
Um, it is um, very high vibration. Chris, these are very high vibration crystals, selenite. There's another reason why I was carrying it with me. Like I would literally carry these two in my purse all the time. I wanted to be in high vibration. I wanted to be able to see clearly. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I really wanted to open the channels up. I really wanted to clear that, the any like all the stagnant energy, and clear the blockages that I had from really receiving and seeing the highest best for me. So yeah, these are the two that I wanted to talk about today. And yeah, do some more research. We only have a few minutes here to share, but I really urge you to look it up and just see how you can work with these two crystals. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for that. I love selenite. I had a piece of selenite that split down the middle once, and I held each of the pieces in my hand, and I could definitely feel like the conduit, the energy like pulsing through, my body. So I love selenite. That's a great one. So the ones that I have for you are amethyst and lapis lazuli. So amethyst, I have a little one. My wife carries rocks, as she calls them, rocks. Takes rocks to work with her in her pockets because she works somewhere where she's always dealing with the public and she wants to be so loud. So she has all the good stuff. But here is my amethyst that I have. I had a like a tower, but I don't know where it is. So that's my amethyst. Now amethyst is great for the crown and the third eye chakras. I use them a lot in meditation. I have a actually I probably should have grabbed the one that's above my bed where I meditate the most. Sitting at the top of my bed. And I definitely think that it really helps with connecting to your intuition, to your higher consciousness. It enhances your like clarity, your mental clarity. I've also heard actually I just heard in we were talking about Iyanla's book. She was talking about amethyst being a bridge between the physical and spiritual worlds. And that is something that I've known it is because it's associated with the crown chakra, which is where, you know, we're connected directly to spirit. So that's something that you can work with in meditation. You can have it around you, you can carry it, keep it on your person. Um, and then lapis, I don't have. I think you had a piece of lapis that you could show everybody, and that is a beautiful lapis.
Thank you.
It's also associated with the third eye chakra and the throat chakra. So in when doing visioning, we're really talking about these upper chakras like heart chakra, throat chakra, um, third eye, crown chakra. It's so pretty. It enhances intuition. It really connects you to your psychic abilities, and because it's also associated with the throat chakra, it encourages clear communication, and it really helps you to develop a self awareness and a sense of inner vision and inner wisdom. Um, yeah, I think that's all I have on those two. So amethyst and lapis, goshenite and selenite are your crystals for this month. And for our herbs, uni, blue lotus, and bay laurel.
Yes, blue lotus is a herb that you can, of course, drink it in a tea form. You can make tinctures out of it. And it really helps to expand your awareness and help you to tap into your dreams. A lot of people that I know, they roll it up and they smoke it, and like they'll make like their herb smoke blends and they smoke it, and it helps them to meditate. It helps them to receive downloads. It helps them to really tap into a greater level of awareness. And a lot of people also like to drink blue lotus tea. I forgot to bring it with me. I have it over there, but I'm not going to get up and go through all of that. But it helps before you go to sleep. A lot of people will drink it before they go to bed so that they can have more vivid dreams and receive downloads in that way as well.
Mhm,
Um, the thing about blue lotus is it's a very gentle um, herb. It's very gentle and it helps to it's not it's not even that like the taste is pretty mild if I recall correctly. I haven't had it in a while, but it helps you to kind of expand your awareness, kind of like without disassociating from yourself. So it really helps you to stay grounded and anchor within yourself, but it helps you to expand your awareness. And so it's an absolutely amazing herb. I know a lot of people who, like I said, who work with it, and I have as well. Not as much, a little bit. Um, Speaking of the chakras, it helps with the heart and the third eye
Hmm.
chakra. So actually, I like to call it first eye chakra, actually, because you see with your inner vision first.
Yes.
Um, and it helps you to like really relax so that you can. That's why a lot of people will have it like before bedtime. It really helps you to relax, and it helps you um to really dream bigger. You know what I mean? It's such a beautiful herb, and it's a really good one to work with that automatic writing that we were talking about. It
Mm,
helps you to, really channel, from deep within so that you can outpour, from yourself. What else? What was the next one? Oh, Bay Laurel, Lauris nobilis. I love Bay Laurel because my first name is it actually comes from the Laurel Bay tree, and I absolutely love it. I've done quite a bit of research on it. You know, a lot of people like to use laurel, or bay leaves, as a lot of people call it, when they are setting intentions at the new moon. A lot of people will write their intentions on the leaves and sometimes burn them, or sometimes set them on their altar. Um, it's also a great herb for prophetic insight, and it helps you to really see your destiny clearly.
mm,
It's a very destiny based herb. The thing about the laurel tree, it was, if I recall correctly, like the what do you call them? Like the gladiators, like back in the Roman times or whatever, like they would have crowns made of laurel bay
hmm,
leaves on their, that's what their crowns would be made of. And so it helps you to like really see the winner within yourself. Like, where can you win? Where's your victory at? Where's your highest honor? You know what I mean? That you can receive in your life. Where's your destiny, or your, at? It helps to sharpen your intention and your future sight. It's also a good one for strengthening your discernment, clearing mental fog and doubt, and it anchors your vision into actionable reality, supporting confidence in one's inner authority.
mm,
Um, it really helps you to see what's aligned for you now, again, so that you can really lean into your higher self and really get those victories. Like I love, like I said, it's one of my favorite, and it's definitely one that you may want to work with and lean into. You can, okay, as I said before, you can write your intentions on the leaves. You can drink it in your tea. You can put it on your first eye, like as an anointing, you know what I mean? And like speak meditations over yourself and help you to tap in with it that way. And you can also burn it.
mhm.
Um, if you work with both Blue Lotus and, Bay Laurel together, I would say that Blue Lotus is gonna open the channel for you, and Bay Laurel is gonna direct you in the right direction. It's gonna point you in the right direction. So they're two great ones to really work with. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I have mugwort and rosemary. Um, I have a really good relationship with mugwort. Mugwort follows me. It likes to go where I go for some reason.
Mhm.
I moved from New Jersey to Virginia, and I did not bring any live mugwort with me, but it came by itself. Like I didn't intentionally bring it, but I did bring some plants and things with me, and it just came up. It just sprouted. And so I've had a really good relationship with mugwort. I've used it as a smudge. I've used it as a tea. I have it. Oh, you have some there? Great. Yes.
Mhm.
I love it. It has that, it's silvery on one side and green on the other. I have a mugwort tincture here that I like to use. Mugwort is also associated with a third eye in the crown, kind of like amethyst. And it is great for protection, right? But it also is it's really good for dream work and intuition. Some people call it a psychedelic. I have never had any kind of experience with it being anything like that, but I have, if you're out there doing research, you're going to see people refer to it as that sometimes. And that's never been my experience. I've never had any, break from, physical reality. Anything like that. It is something I would be careful with working with if you have any kind of like circulation or blood issues. Definitely look into contraindications. But this this is a powerful herb to work with, not taking it necessarily internally, for working with your intuition and connecting to divine feminine, because it is known for its connection to the moon and divine feminine and this inner wisdom, this inner knowing that we have. So when you're trying to tune into your vision, that's really where you want to get to. You want to get to that inner wisdom, that inner knowing, that divine feminine, which just has this this knowledge, this intuition. So I would definitely recommend working with it. I've made dream pillows where you kind of put it in a little satchel and you stick it up under your pillow and work with it at night. It's great as a smudge. It's a really good alternative to sage. I really think um, working with mugwort, especially because it's very local. It's you can probably find mugwort on any side of the road. It grows all over the place.
I
Yep,
literally pulled
side of
this
the
up.
road. Um, it really does go where it's needed. So if it's around you, it's probably asking you to work with it. Um, that goes for pretty much any herb, but I find mugwort really, because it's so recognizable. Um, it really does that. It's really great for lucid dreams. Um, I haven't used it for dream work. I've used it more for good, like deep meditation and intuitive work and protection work. Um, and purification. That's why I say it's good for, a good alternative to sage for smudging. So yeah, smudging. You can make a dream pillow. You can drink it as a tea. You can drink it as a tincture. Great for the divine feminine. Really good for women's cycles. Look into it. I always encourage everybody to look into all of these things. If you're taking any kind of medications, if you're taking other supplements, always make sure that you're checking into what you're doing. That's my inner lawyer coming out. And rosemary. Rosemary is another one that I love. I have some here. It's an evergreen plant, so it's still in my garden, even in the snow. So here is some beautiful rosemary.
Beautiful.
Still nice and green. I'm so grateful that it was around. I also have some my little smudge pot here. This is some dried. Let's see if I can put it there so you all can see it. It's kind of what it's like when it's dried. It's just falling all over the place. So I do smudge with it. I love to smudge with rosemary. It smells amazing. Um, and another thing I like to do with rosemary, because it's known for enhancing mental clarity and alertness, is make a simmer pot with it. And so I just put it in a pot on the stove. Sometimes I'll throw some other things, some citrus or some cinnamon or something else in there, but sometimes just the rosemary on its own. Um, and it's great, just the aromatherapy. Like, it's not always rosemary tea is delicious too, but working with rosemary as just an aromatherapy for mental clarity, it enhances memory, which when you're tuning into your vision, you're really just remembering the intention you had when you came into this life, before you came on this earth school journey, the plan that you had when you decided to embark on this journey. And so I think rosemary is great for just, tapping into not just our human memory, but our spiritual memory. It smells so good. Oh my God. I can't
I
stop sniffing it.
I actually put some in my hair, like I've mixed some in like a carrier oil, and I put some in my hair earlier because same
Hmm.
thing as you were
It
saying, like
smells, yeah.
yeah, it smells amazing and it does help you to stay focused and help you to remember.
Hmm.
And it's just an amazing herb, and it's so easy to find. Also, it's just
Yeah.
amazing.
And it's like a year-round herb. It's a perennial, but it's
Hmm.
also it's an evergreen plant, so it stays even it's the middle of winter and I just went and snipped a couple of pieces off of my plant and it's still green and beautiful and smelling amazing. So, rosemary is also associated with the third eye and the heart, and that's the rose aspect of it is the heart. Again, these upper chakras, when you're trying to tune into a vision, that's really where if you're pulling it down, this is the part of the energetic body that we're dealing with is these upper chakras, the lower chakras more with the doing and the putting things into action. Um, so yeah, those are our herbs: mugwort, rosemary, blue lotus, and bay laurel. Okay, what do we have next? Divination practices. This is more of a conversation. I feel like that Uni and I wanted to have because you can use different divination practices to tune into your vision, to hone in on your vision. And when I say divination practices, what do I mean? I mean numerology, astrology, tarot, oracle cards, cardology,
Runes. Hmm.
runes, those types of things. Um, I know that people associate that with like looking into the future, and I mean that's kind of what a vision is, right? You're looking at what you're trying to tune into what you are meant to become. What are you coming into? Um, but the conversation that we really wanted to have about these is more not just that you can use them. I think a lot of people know that you can use them to tune into what's coming, right? But it's beyond what's coming. It's more a having a relationship with that practice. Like I love astrology. I know I'm a chart stalker. You know that I look at these things. Um, I love the cards too. I don't use them as often. But I do on a regular basis. Tarot cards or oracle cards and things like that. Work with those things. Particularly when I'm having trouble um getting clarity, and they can be great for that. But there's the shadow side of these divination practices is when you are going to someone else and they are telling you what they see. This is what I see for you. This is, and it can get a little hairy there. And so we kind of wanted to have a conversation around that. And so I'm gonna throw it to you, Uni, to kind of kick off this conversation about using these divination practices versus like kind of allowing someone else to do it for you.
Yeah, I have been around quite a few people who work with various divination tools, and you know, I think that a lot of times, I mean, there's a lot of different directions I can go. The first thing that comes is definitely the consent part about it. I've been in spaces with people who just start pulling cards when I'm speaking without asking me if it's okay. Just trying to read my energy, trying to tap into my energy without even asking my consent. And I have and I do still, feel pretty violated in in that respect.
Mhm.
What is going on in my life and, my karmas, my challenges, the things that are coming up for me, that is for me to see. And what I feel like is a lot of times what people don't realize is when you are tapping into someone else's vision or you're tapping into someone else's, life force energy, I will guarantee you $1 million that you are not tapped in enough to your own, especially if you're doing it without their consent,
Mhm.
because you would understand the importance of consent. You would understand the importance of making sure that you are not overstepping boundaries, you know. Just because I'm sharing space with you does not mean that you get to just stomp all over my feet and step all over my boundaries. No,
Mhm.
that's not okay. um just overall, I think that, when you go, if you do go to see someone, to help you maybe figure something out, maybe you go to someone who reads tarot, or someone who throws runes or bones or whatever it is that they does, because you're trying to gain some clarity. The thing about that is understanding that they are, what they're doing is they're able to see patterns, they're able to see possibilities, they're able to it's kind of like the weatherman, lately, this last storm, the weather people got it right, but we were all kind of like, we were all wondering, right? We're like, is it going to happen? Because there's been a few times they told us we were going to get a couple feet of snow and nothing happened. And a couple times they said we weren't going to get much, and we got more than we were expected. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Patterns shift, winds change, things happen. We all have free will. So, in addition to making sure that you are not, if you're into divination, if you're a practitioner, making sure you're not stepping on the toes of others. If you're going to see a practitioner, and you're going to seek insight, it's very important to understand that, you can't always predict the weather. You know what I mean? You
Right.
can't always predict the weather. um that's one thing that I love about you, Umi. You're so adamant about not, telling people about, doing like readings for like future, giving predictions and things like that, because you understand that, things change. Like I said last week, something can open up just like that, and
Right.
you got to be open for it, but every see every practitioner cannot see every possibility. You know what
Right.
I mean? So, like, some of these things you have to take with a grain of salt, because sometimes they just can't see everything. If they did, they'd be up with God. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. You know what I
Right.
mean? We all have, we some of us have great vision, but I feel like there's limits to, all of us, because we are in these human vessels, and we do have limits to what we can do, even though some of
Mhm.
us can do some really great things. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
really my take on it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I think it's important to remember that no matter what is said, it's not law. It's not a certainty. You can make it a certainty by ruminating on it, and where attention goes, energy flows. So if you keep ruminating on it, yes, you're going to manifest whatever it is. So I think it's always important to bring that into any reading or anything, whether you're doing it for yourself or someone else is doing it for you. And also to understand that, particularly when someone else is giving you a reading, they don't know all the circumstances of your life, so they may see something, but in their limited capacity of knowledge. So I like to, when I do astrology readings for people, like, I see the capacity for, I see the propensity for, I see the, like, the inkling or the inclination for you to do this, or and I ask questions. So, like, I can see there's some, you know, propensity for artistic ability, right? Are you into art? Because it may not come up as artistic ability. Maybe it comes off as, like, writing, or poetry, or it could be something in that realm, but you're saying this one thing and people get focused on that thing that you're saying. And so I encourage you, when you're even when you're reading for yourself, to be loose. Be loose in your definition of things, and not, yes, there's a realm of possibility. It's not just one possibility. There's not just one outcome. And this goes to what we were saying earlier, with the reflection questions about, what outcome am I attached to that's limiting my sight? That's what poor divination practices can do, is that it gives you a limited sight, and then you think that's all that there is. And that may not be so, you know? Somebody could say, "Oh, I see in the cards that you're going to hit the lottery in a month," and you are convinced that you're going to do that, but maybe the lottery you're going to hit isn't actually the millions of dollars. You could get a dollar. Or you could, it could be it could come in some other way, or it may be some other energy associated with that is really going to manifest in your life. And so I just encourage everyone that if you do use these practices, one, I think it's always better to do it for yourself. Not saying that you can't go to others for readings, but be careful about who you're having read for you. Be very careful. And it's not law, whatever they say. It's not the law. So that's our little spiel on divination practices when you are trying to tune into your vision. Just use caution, and your intuition, your inner knowing, it always supersedes anything else. Um, so another practice, and this is one that I like to talk about a lot, is vision boards. And vision boards, you know, I a lot of these practices you have to do in correlation with other practices. So we were talking about the automatic writing and journaling. You want to do that, in a meditative way. You want to do it in that way. The same I feel like goes for vision boards. It's just a different expression of a journal. It's really a visual expression of that. And so you want to do it ceremoniously, and you want to do it tuned in, maybe light yourself some candles and some incense or whatever your practices are. I'm not, specifically advocating anything, but, smudge, do it in a group, do it as a part of a ritual, however it may come through. And um, don't go in with preconceived notions about what you're putting on that board. You know, you can, and if you don't know what a vision board is, I feel like we don't know who's watching and what background you have with any of this stuff. So if you do know what it is, good for you. Some of our viewers may not. But just creating a board where you kind of put visual representations of what you see coming in your future. Or what vision you have for your life that you want to manifest. I don't like to associate it with goals, right? I know a lot of people, when you in the kind of secular world, they focus on goals. So put your goals up so that you see them all the time. That's not my association with a vision board. My association of a vision board is, what's the person that you want to be? Not just the things that you want to do, but who do you want to be? Um, I should have brought. I have a. I don't have my vision board with me. It's in storage, but one that I made about 6 years ago, so that I could show you what came up on that vision board and how it actually manifested in my life, because it's very different. It was very different than what I thought it was going to be when I put it on that board. But all of the things that I put on there came to be, just not in the way that I expected. Uni, what do you have to say about vision boards? What's your experience with using vision boards?
When I am going through old magazines or, newspapers or whatever, booklets, and I'm clipping out pictures to add to my vision board, I pick out things that make me feel excited, that make me feel good. I'm always like, oh, I want this. Oh, I want to add this. You know what I mean? And I think that when it comes to like really crafting your vision, one of the things that is very important to keep in mind is that you want to get into a space of like evoking like a feeling, you know what I mean? So those things that naturally make you feel good, those things that naturally you're like, oh yes, this, or even if it's just a word, you know what I mean? I think on one of my vision boards that I have upstairs, the word joy, I saw it on like in a magazine. I was like, oh yes, joy. I'm cutting this out. I'm putting it on my vision board. You know what I mean? Because it's really all about when you see this vision board, it's really about feeling good, and the feeling is what's going to pull you towards that vision. It's what's going to have you like walking in that direction, I was thinking earlier when you were talking about something, I can't remember what it was, but I didn't want to cut you off. I'm getting better at that. Um, it made me think about the bat signal. You know how when there's, madness and mayhem in Gotham City, they put the bat signal up, and so Batman runs to it. Now, this is like a different perspective of that, but I kind of feel like creating a vision board for yourself is like your own personal bat signal. Like you're like, oh, I'm running towards that. You know what I mean? This is where I need to go. This is calling me. This, you know what I mean? So that's how I feel about vision boards. I haven't done one in a while. Our circle, we're supposed to get together this weekend and create one. Hopefully, we all can still make it. I still gotta find some magazines. I got rid of a bunch of them not too long ago. So hopefully I can find some, and even if you can't, even if, because we don't have like magazines laying around like we used to, you can make them on Canva nowadays. Like you can like find images and things on like Pinterest and on the internet, and you can make a vision board on Canva. I've done that before as well and saved it as my lock screen. Just putting images and words that really speak to me and make me feel good, and things that I would really love to have in my life. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's what it is for me.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, that's a really great way to look at it. That it's really about the emotion, the feeling, the
Mhm.
vibe that it gives you. And I love the idea of it being the bat signal, your own personal bat signal. What how awesome is that?
I'm telling you, you were talking earlier, it just popped into my mind. I'm like, oh yes, I can't wait to make my new one this month.
Yes, yes. I'm looking forward to us doing that too. I think I'll do mine digitally.
Yeah, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to.
All right. We don't have a lot of time, but I do want to get to the life visioning process, and then we're going to talk a little bit about new moon rituals. So, life visioning, I've talked about this before, is specifically a process that Reverend Michael Beckwith came up with. This is the book that kind of walks you through the process. Um, and it's really a meditative process. It's often done in group. I like to do it with at least one other person because it helps to have somebody to facilitate it, to add the asking of the questions while you're in a meditative state. And so you kind of pull yourself into gratitude, into a meditative state, and you just ask. You ask the question of spirit, what is the highest and greatest vision for my life? What is the highest and greatest vision for this project? What is the highest and greatest vision for this relationship? um Whatever it is for my career. You can be specific like that, or you can just in general, what is the highest and greatest vision for my life, for my being, for my purpose here on earth. Um and and then there's a series of follow-up questions. What do I need to become? What do I need to release? Um so I didn't write down all of the questions to go through with you all because, well, one, I think doing the research for yourself on and checking out the book, or just googling and finding out more about the process. Maybe someday I'll teach a little more about kind of what I've learned about it. But and I use this because this is what I learned, right? But I also do my own versions, the versions that feel good. What questions do I have? It's really about the process of getting into a receptive state and asking the universe, God, spirit, whatever, however you identify with the higher power, your inner self, your inner knowing, and being receptive to a vision and taking note of the things that come up, whether it be a color, a smell, a sound, whatever, and allowing the vision to unfold. But it's kind of a more formal practice of asking, right? Rather than just sitting in or just, it's just another way to more formally practice and ask, connecting and asking what that higher power is. Um, and then visualization kind of I just wanted to distinguish the difference between like visualization and visioning. Visioning is this process of asking and receiving a vision. Visualization is when you already know what the vision is and you're trying to and you're trying to get it, into your soul, into your spirit where you sit. The vision may be that you're going to have a farm. I'm using that because it's my example. I'm going to have a farm. And I sit back and I daydream and visualize myself being on this farm and picking, my rosemary and drying it and having it all hanging up around the house. And that's where you like kind of you want to embody it. You want to get it in there. You really like marinate yourself in it. That's what visualization is versus this visioning process of really asking and getting into this meditative state. I will just say, because like we are short on time, you can check out the book if you want to. You can kind of Google. There's definitely information out there. There's some videos on YouTube that go through the process as well. Um, it's a great practice. It's something I do, I try to do as regularly as I can. Um, and sometimes I do abbreviated versions of it, especially when I'm doing it about a specific thing that I want to do. So that's my little spiel on visioning and visualization. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that. No, good. Okay. So I'm going to throw new moon rituals over to you and let you talk about the new moon rituals.
Yes, thank you so much. New moon rituals are extremely powerful and actually something that I'd love for us and our classmates to really tap into at some point. A lot of us do them without realizing them anyway. I think one of the ones you mentioned recently was what everyone on social media talks about, on a new moon going to your front door and blowing cinnamon in to, bring in prosperity. Cinnamon is a prosperity herb, and it helps to, for you to draw that into your life. And, when it comes to new moon rituals, it's just really any type of intention setting or anything that you do around the time of the new moon when the moon is not visible to us in the sky. It's a time of kind of like darkness. It's a time of like one of the metaphors I've heard in the past is like similar to like being in the womb, where you are in that space of like being nurtured, when you're in that space of growing, when you're in that space of when you can't really see, so you're like really kind of like feeling your way through it. And it really gives you a great opportunity to set your intentions and to identify
Mhm.
the vision that you have for your life. And there's so many other things that you can do around the new moon. You can work with some of the herbs we have. Like I said earlier, people write on the bay leaf and they'll burn it, or they'll set it on their altar on a new moon to set their intentions for the next, 28-day cycle until the full moon. Um, some people take baths on a new moon. They'll have their herbs and oils that are in alignment with the intentions that they're setting for this cycle. Um, what are some other things you can do? Some people clean their homes on a new moon, like do a really deep clean on a new moon, to really help clear out stagnant energy and bring in fresh energy. Bring in flowers, spray your Florida water around, mop your floors with your floor wash. We just made some floor wash in our sister circle recently. And I actually used it recently on a new moon. So, um, what else can you do on a new moon? Oh yeah, of course. Like, working with your crystals on a new moon,
Mhm.
all of the crystals that we talked about are extremely powerful for seeing clearly. One of the things that I realized recently is that, when you're sitting in darkness, and we're going to talk about stillness again next month, but it's kind of like in alignment with that. But sitting in darkness, it really helps for you to get clear on things. It really helps to, like, when you quiet all the noise, like I was talking about earlier, you remove distractions, you quiet a lot of your senses, you know what I mean? so that you can really focus on what's true for you. Doing that on a new moon, sitting in darkness and just meditating. Some people even take showers in the dark or baths in the dark. That's another powerful thing you can do. Like I said, it helps to when you quiet as many senses as possible, so you can't see as clearly. You can't, what are your other senses? You can't feel. I mean, you can feel. You know what I mean? Even if you quiet one sense, you know what I mean? It's gonna really enliven and sharpen the other ones, is really what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So that time around the new moon is it's really powerful. And I really urge you again to do some research on, the new moon, do some research on, setting new moon intentions and practices and see which ones align with you. You know what I mean? We mentioned a few here, but maybe those align with you. Maybe they don't. Maybe there's some others out there that, that may align with you, but they are, I'm telling you, it's when I tap into my new moon, like I have a whole journal where I was just doing new moon and full moon rituals and, setting intentions. And when I go back and look at it, like you looking at your vision board, oh, I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? And as
Hmm.
time went on, I got stronger and stronger. And, the things that I was, envisioning and seeing and the intentions that I was setting were definitely just manifesting or coming to life quicker and just easier, if
Hmm.
if I could say that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. That was really informative. I appreciate you. And I think, yeah, it's really important to note that, like, you can do all of these practices. You can choose to do them as a new moon ritual just to take advantage of that energy, that additional energy. So that was really great. I appreciate you sharing all of that with us. I love me a good new moon or full moon or any moon ritual.
Any moon, it doesn't
Any
matter.
moon,
You know what I mean?
any moon, any reason to light me some candles and smudge.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that is most of what we had to go. Oh, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. So, this is something that we kind of started doing and I almost forgot about it. So, we just wanted to take a moment of gratitude. We're so grateful for you. We're so grateful for you joining us and tuning into the vision with us. Um, Yeah, we encourage you all to share in the comments kind of your rituals and things that you do. We're just, so grateful for you and we want to know, what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for this study hall? What about this month? What have you taken away from this? Is there anything, that you're particularly thankful that came up, or did something come up that we didn't talk about but came up in the energy of this? Are you we're so grateful for all of you. Uni, anything you want to say? Any gratitude you want to share?
Yes, I'm really grateful for you, my fellow peer guide, all of our classmates out there and fellow peer guides, those of you who are helping us to lean into our vision, here at Earth School Journey, as we have been really doing this work in front of you all and also behind the scenes. And this has been a really, really powerful month of leaning into the vision. I mean, I can't tell you how much clarity I have gained this month and how my mindset has shifted, you know what I mean? And just a lot of things have started to shift in my life. From doing the work this month. This has really been a powerful month, and I'm really grateful to be in alignment with the energy because it's really calling for us at this time, to do this sort of work, especially as we see so many things around us. There's just so much chaos in the world, but those of us who are holding the vision for a better world, as we are kind of, I don't want to say sheltered, but we are a little bit protected from some of the things that are going on, and we're praying for everyone out there. for your safety, for your, your wellness, and, and for things to really start to change. But yeah, it's really been a powerful month. I'm super grateful for the work that we've been doing together.
Yes. Yes, yes. So I think that's all we have for you guys. That's it. It's been a great month. It's been a great show. Yeah. I guess until next time. Peace.
Peace, everyone. Thank you.
Peace, everyone. We'll see you next month.